guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode of Premier League Talk. I'm sorry it's been a 2-week break, but there's been so much football that I didn't know how to break it down. But I picked 3 games over the past 2 weeks, 2 of them from this weekend, 1 from the weekend before, that really, I think, need talking about because they were just such thrillers and they have such consequential meaning. Anyway, we'll start with the results, I guess. On the 25th of April, which was a Tuesday, Wolves beat Palace 2-0, Villa beat Fulham 1-0, and Leeds and Leicester drew 1-1. The following night, Wednesday, the title was pretty much decided. I think Man City smashed Arsenal 4-1. West Ham, they lost 2-1 to Liverpool. Chelsea were beaten 2-0 by Brentford, and Forest beat Brighton 3-1. That Thursday, Everton lost 4-1 to Newcastle, Southampton were beaten 1-0 by Bournemouth, and Spurs and Man United drew 2-2. The Saturday of that weekend, Palace won 4-3 against West Ham, Brentford won 2-1 against Nottingham Forest, and Brighton demolished Wolves, winning 6-0 at the Amex. That Sunday, Bournemouth won 4-1 against Leeds. Fulham lost narrowly 2-1 to Manchester City. Man United beat Aston Villa 1-0. Newcastle beat Southampton 3-1, and Liverpool won 4-3 against Spurs. That's one of the games we will come back to. We then move on to that Monday. Leicester and Everton drew 2-2. Following night on the Tuesday, Arsenal beat Chelsea 3-1. Wednesday, Liverpool beat Fulham 1-0, Man City smashed West Ham 3-0. That Thursday, Brighton beat Man United 1-0. Last Saturday, so the Saturday we just had, Bournemouth were beaten 3-1 by Chelsea. Manchester City beat Leeds 2-1. Spurs beat Palace 1-0. Wolves won 1-0 against Aston Villa, and Liverpool won 1-0 against Brentford. This Sunday, Newcastle beat Arsenal, lost to Arsenal 2-0. We'll come back to that game as well because that's got a bit of significance about it. And West Ham beat Manchester United 1-0. Then yesterday was incredible. 21 goals scored. Fulham beating Leicester 5-3. Brighton losing 5-1 to Everton. We'll come back to that one. And Forest 4, Southampton 3. So yeah, as I said, we'll start with the game from further back. We had Liverpool 4, Tottenham Hotspur 3. Liverpool going 3-0 up in the first half. Spurs dragging it back to 3-3 in the 92nd minute before 90 seconds later, Diogo Jota goes up the other end and scores. I mean, look, it was Ryan Mason's second full game in charge. He'd taken charge of the Man United game. They were 2-0 down in that one. They came back to draw 2-2. And signs looked very much like it would be similar. I mean, they were 3-0 down to Liverpool at Anfield, came back to be drawing 3-3. I mean, it was the most typical Richarlison moment. He scores the equaliser, takes his shirt off, goes into the crowd, does the pigeon celebration, and 90 seconds later, they're 4-3 down. Klopp tore a hamstring in the game. It was just utter scenes. I mean, what a game it was. What it means, though, I mean, and it's sort of changed now that Liverpool won 1-0 on the weekend, so did Spurs, but Spurs dropped sort of much further down in the race for Europa League. Obviously, 5th and 6th get Europa League football. At the moment, those two places are occupied by those two clubs. But Brighton, they had just beaten Manchester United 1-0, so they were sort of back in the running. I think Villa have dropped off a bit, but they're still in there. I mean, there's 3 games to go, so realistically, any of those 4 sides can still pick up that spot. It's a really, really interesting fight to see who's going to get that. And I wouldn't be surprised if either of those 4 teams, I don't know where they're going to finish either. I think Liverpool are the only team that will definitely finish in a Europa League spot. Not mathematically, but I just think on form, they definitely will. But the other 3, I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see. It was just an incredible game. From minute 1, Liverpool bombarded Spurs, and then in the second half, Spurs, they came back. It was a great game, great game. Anyway, moving on to the next game, it was, I think I said, Newcastle 0, Arsenal 2. Now, it's not the cleanest scoreline, but I think, or like the most entertaining game. I mean, it was a very entertaining game. I mean, it was breathtaking. Both teams going at each other hammer and tong. Arsenal coming out 2-0 winners thanks to an own goal from Fabian Schär and a long-range effort from Martin Odegaard. Look, Arsenal secured a top 2 finish, which I think was really important for them. It meant they couldn't slip any further. And they got back on the winning track midweek. Obviously, they hadn't won in 4. Got back on the winning track midweek, beating Chelsea 3-1. They then came to Newcastle, which I think was, of all the games of the run-in, this is the one where everyone expected Arsenal to get absolutely battered. There wasn't Man City. And they came out 2-0 winners. I thought they handled the atmosphere superbly well. And they took their chances. I think Jorginho was utterly brilliant in the game. I really did. And you know what? It means they're 1 point behind Manchester City. Yes, Manchester City have a game in hand on them. But still, I think It's so important for Arsenal now to just, they've got 3 games left this season. They win all those 3 games, that's all they can do, and they've got to hope that one of Manchester City's remaining 4 can cause an upset, or 2 of Manchester City, like even a draw and a loss. Maybe just, we need Man City to drop points. Anyway, that would be really, really key. So we'll have to see what happens there. But Newcastle, though, and this was aided by the loss of Manchester United to West Ham. I think third and fourth have come under fire now, and this is what I said. Liverpool, they're on 62 points. Newcastle are on 65. Manchester United are on 64. Although both Newcastle and Man United have played 1 game less than Liverpool. Look, it's really interesting. Liverpool could even end up in the top 4. This is what I'm saying. Manchester United, they lost their last 2 games. Brighton 1-0, West Ham 1-0. Newcastle, they just lost to Arsenal on the weekend. So Liverpool are definitely still in that race, but they have to hope that Manchester United or Newcastle drop points again, which could happen, but I doubt it. We'll have to see what happens. But Liverpool are very much in that fight. I wouldn't say the top 4, the third and fourth, are nailed on just yet, but I'd be pretty surprised if it wasn't Newcastle or Man United. So that's definitely an area to keep an eye on. But yeah, what a game we had on Tyneside. And then finally, yesterday at the Amex, Everton thumped Brighton 5-1. I mean, where has that been from Everton this season? They've been appalling up until now. They just blitzed them, absolutely blitzed them. Decore with 2, Dwight McNeil with 2. It was just utterly incredible from Everton. And they move into 17th. The relegation battle is really heating up. We've got Forest in 16th, Everton in 17th. Who's in 18th? 18th. Come back to 18th. 19th, we've got Leeds. Southampton are in 20th. I think Southampton, they're down. They lost 4-3, obviously, yesterday to Forest. Forest, they're in 16th. They still have a chance of survival. Yeah, 16th. Who's in 18th? I think which is the other team that's been... Leicester in 18th. Leicester, they lost 5-3 to Fulham. They're in definite chance of survival. They really need a miracle. And I'd say the same with Leeds. Leeds, it's not looking great for them. Lost 2-1 to Man City on the weekend. But this relegation battle is really heating up. There's like 5 points in it. No, 3 points in it from 19th to 17th. So we really have to keep an eye on it, because that is going to be crucial. As for Brighton, I think this result meant that the chances of finishing Europa League place really slipping away now. Conference League, I think they could get if Villa drop off, but as I said, those 4 teams, they're all fighting for it. It's really interesting. But Brighton, I think that was their worst performance of the season by far. They were woeful. I mean, to go from 1 week battering Wolves 6-0 to then losing 5-1 at home to a worse Everton side, it was just utterly incredible. But you know what, fair play to Everton. I think if Dyche keeps them up this season, it'll be a great job. And they need to stay in the Premier League financially, because you think about their new stadium, the players on the contracts, they can't afford to drop to the Championships. That parachute money will not be enough. But yeah, what a crazy week, 2 weeks we've just had in the league, guys. 3 games left, as I said. It has gone like that. I'm sure these next 3 weeks are going to bring us absolute chaos. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.